Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice Radio. So today, I'm going to be showing you a spectacularly exciting new Pokemon tool card coming out in Sun and Moon 7, Celestial Storm, and I know I've been doing 3 videos a day for the last couple of days. This is not something I plan to keep going forever. 2 videos a day is pretty much the perfect number, when you love Pokemon as much as I do at least. But, sorry, usually Japan leaks more cards ahead of release, and then there's fewer in one big news drop. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending how you look at it, this time a whole bunch of cards got dumped at once, and honestly, we're having to do 3 videos a day for now, just to keep up with all the exciting new cards. And this is one of the more exciting new cards in Sun and Moon 7, and that's why it's so strange it's actually taken me so long to get to it. It's Hussle Band. Now, this is another one of those cards that was translated by the lovely David Hochmann over at limitlesstcg.com/translations and sent to me by the lovely Antoine Boulay, who, as we all know by now, is a lovely man, when he sent me his pick of the most exciting. And weirdly enough, they both got the same name for it, being Hussle Band. And we'll talk about this in future videos, but it can be quite awkward trying to translate the name of some of these item cards. It's not like Sky Pillar, where we can just look at it and go, well, I mean, it's clearly Sky Pillar. No. This is Hussle Band, ladies and gentlemen. And the good news is that both David and Antoine have the same translation for this. If the Pokemon to which this is attached has 30 HP or less remaining, its attacks do 60 more to your opponent's active Pokemon. If the Pokemon this card is attached to has no damage counters on it, this card does nothing. And the reason that second bit is there is because sometimes you do have 30 HP Pokemon, like for instance Magikarp, and alright, Magikarp's not particularly exciting, right? Nobody's going to get particularly excited about Magikarp, but maybe at some point someone's going to use Magikarp to attack and actually, could actually do some damage. I mean, let's take the Magikarp from Burning Shadows. 1 water energy, 10 damage. Flip a coin. If heads, prevent all effects of attacks, including damage, done to this Pokemon during your opponent's next turn. You could actually put a Hussle Band on Magikarp and sit there doing 70 damage a turn with immunity. And, using Victini to get yourself a 75% chance. I mean, look, it would be weird, but it would actually work. But you cannot do that because you've got to have some damage counters on. Now, if Magikarp had 1 or 2 damage counters on, then you would be able to do that, but you couldn't just drop this Magikarp naked with no damage counters on. You would have to have some damage on. There we go. Now, this is obviously a very awkward card, right? Doing an extra 60 damage is just plain great. Choice Band sees a huge amount of play at the moment, allowing you to do 30 more to Pokemon EXs and GXs. This is double Choice Band, and it works against non-EXs, non-GXs. To be perfectly blunt to you, ladies and gentlemen, it will help you hit the numbers like nobody's business. Now again, this is the kind of card I could sit here and do a 40-minute, hour-long video giving you examples of this, but what I'll do is I'll just show you a couple to show you quite how good this can be. Take someone like a Zoroark. It does 120 for a double colorless energy, assuming, of course, you have a full bench. Well, there's loads of Pokemon out there like Volcanion and Registeel, which can take a hit of 120. And then if you had a Choice Band, you do 150, but the only GX that will actually KO is Marshadow, and all the other Pokemon are out of range. Well, all of a sudden, if you can get Hussle Band working, you're now hitting 180 to anything. That will KO any non-GX other than the Wailord from Guardians Rising, which has 200. It will even get my boy Mamoswine, which has 180. And it will get a whole bunch of GXs like Tapu Lele and Tapu Bulu. It turns an okay attack. It's good for 2-hit KOing. Maybe we'll use Acerola, but let's face it, the ability's so good I can live with it attack, into a genuinely viable getting 1-hit KOs on an awful lot of stuff attack. I mean, you could legitimately use this to 1-hit KO Greninja Breaks before rotation, giving you a weirdly good matchup against that. It would mean that Tapu Bulu, once it discarded all the energy, would do 240 damage with Nature's Judgment, meaning it would be able to KO stuff like Gardevoir, turning what would be an exceptionally bad matchup into an exceptionally good matchup. So there are a million different examples of Pokemon that if they could just do an extra 60 damage, they would be absolutely sorted. To be blunt, if you could just do an extra 60, it would be too good. So that's when we bring in the if it has 30 or fewer hit points remaining, then you do the extra 60. So now it becomes incredibly awkward. You're trying to manipulate the game so your opponent cannot quite KO you, while your opponent is trying to manipulate the game so that they do. I mean, there's a whole bunch of Pokemon around at the moment, like Ultra Necrozma, for instance, or Buzzwole, which have 190 HP, which is great, because it's a lot better than 180, because something like a Tapu Bulu can just KO 180 without a choice band. Well, now it can't because it's got 190. So does Tapu Bulu leave you with 10 HP remaining, hoping to get something like a Tapu Koko to finish the job when you retreat? Or does it not take the hit now? Does it do something like Horn Attack for 30, so that it can get the KO without potentially opening you up to Hussle Belt? Something like a Gardevoir with free energy on you, free energy on Gardevoir, that's 180, doesn't get the KO. So does Gardevoir wait until it's got another energy or a choice band or something? Or does it risk opening you up to Hussle Belt? That is what Hussle Belt is going to do in this format, and it's going to be huge. It is going to open up that decision of, is my opponent playing Hussle Belt? Can I afford to do this? And the answer is, sometimes you won't be able to afford to do this. Now, of course, you're going to need to find it at the right time. Nowadays, we could use Skylar, and let's not forget that you can Tapu Lele for a Skylar. But we are losing Skylar in the rotation, but there's other stuff like Volkner, for instance, which can search you out an item card, which is pretty good. I mean, it's not a great card, but if you're playing a lightning deck anyway, getting an energy and an item, you could use something like that. Or in the expanded format, you could use something like Corinna. There are options for searching it out quite nicely. And I'm looking for supporter options, because then, of course, if you've got a Tapu Lele for a Volkner for Hussle Belt. Or if you've got an Ultra Ball for a Tapu Lele for a Volkner for a Hussle Belt. And I know that seems really awkward, but you know what? If it gets you a KO you wouldn't have gotten otherwise, why not, eh? And playing something like a Volkner is not the same as just playing a second Hussle Belt, because we'd play something like a Volkner to make it easier to find it. But while we're in the expanded format, we've got maybe the best use for this possible, Focus Sash. Focus Sash and Hussle Belt will work out beautifully together. Because the thing about Focus Sash is, you attach it to a fighting Pokemon, and if they would be one-hit KO'd, they go down to 10 HP remaining and the Focus Sash falls off. And that's crucial here. Because now you can add on Hussle Belt, you've definitely got 30 or less HP remaining, you've got 10, but now you can add a Hussle Belt to do an extra 60 damage. I talked about the Don Fan from Champion Road, which has got an outrage attack doing as much damage as is on it. This will love Hussle Belt. Not to mention, of course, we had a quick look at Medicham the other day. Ladies and gentlemen, Medicham is absolutely going to love this, because, of course, Medicham, if it's got 30 HP or remaining less, it does 170 for 2 energy. Then you add in Hussle Belt, which also adds on when you got 30 HP remaining or less. Now you're actually, for 2 energy, maybe even just 1 counter energy, doing 230. Something like a Greninja GX would be one-hit KO'd here. This is a very awkward tool card to use, because if you're not using something like Focus Sash, your opponent is going to try and manipulate it so you don't have 30 HP or less remaining. But they're not always going to be able to. But even when you've got 30 or less HP remaining, you're not always going to be able to find this. This is a very awkward item card. But if you can get it working, it is absolutely over the top good. Choice Band is a phenomenal card, and I don't think anyone's going to argue with that. So having a double choice band that you can use against non-EXs, non-GXs, as well as EXs and GXs, I mean, come on. That's over the top good. It's just really, really awkward to use. I should also probably mention that in Expanded you can use computer search. Yay! Or if it's in your discard pile rather than your deck, you can use Dowsing Machine. I adore this card, but I do think it's going to be very difficult to use. Now, as a side note, every so often we get a Pokemon released that's got an ability that says that if it would be knocked out, flip a coin. If heads, it's not knocked out, the HP becomes 10 instead. The entire Jumpluff line from EX Team Rocket Returns had this, from Hoppip all the way up. Or if you want a more recent example that's still in the format, Heracross from Burning Shadows. Heracross from Burning Shadows loves Hussle Belt. It's really good, because if Heracross isn't KO'd, then all of a sudden Pit, which can be done for a counter energy, does 110, and you get to flip a coin every time it would be KO'd. So something like Heracross will love this. We might even get a better Pokemon in the future that can take better advantage of it. I just wanted it on record that those kind of Pokemon do come around every so often, and they would be great with Hussle Belt. I'm giving Hussle Belt between 3 and 4 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies. That would be barbaric. Honestly, I think in the vast, vast majority of decks, this is going to be too awkward to use and people won't want to find space for it. But I don't want to just give it 3 Wassies as a might be a good tech card at some point score, because I think that somebody, sooner or later, is going to make a deck with Hussle Belt and we're all going to go, oh, for goodness sake, please don't let me play against that. So I think it is a good card, albeit kind of awkward to use. But I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about this? Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and so on, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do just that. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves. Until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.